Go ahead and label your paper. Parallel and perpendicular lines. Parallel and perpendicular lines. If it were me, this is going to be the top paper on your notebook check. I would also just go ahead and put your name in the right corner. But that's just me. So, parallel and perpendicular lines. And then I would put your name in the top right corner. So, these words you would use in real life. Roads are parallel. A lot of things are parallel. And a lot of things are perpendicular. We're just going to talk in specific about lines. Starting with parallel lines. You're going to write this in. Parallel lines are two coplanar lines that will never intersect. So on this paper, you're writing it in. Two coplanar lines that will never intersect. Two coplanar lines that will never intersect. What does coplanar mean? They're on the same plane, and they will never, ever, ever intersect. Right? Go ahead and draw the picture that you see. Two lines going down and to the left. And three horizontal lines. Make sure you draw the letters because we're about to use them. And then the little arrows on the lines. Those little arrows are not signifying that we have lines. These little arrows mean something different. And I'll tell you. So you will see one of two things. You'll either see these little carrots or little arrows, however you want to see them or call them. Or you'll see little triangles that look like this. And here's what they mean. In geometry, we cannot assume things, right? How do we know we have a right angle? What would we look for? Little box or a square, right? For parallel lines, you look for either little triangles, which I did not draw very beautifully, but little triangles that look like this, or you would look for the little, arrowheads that look like that. And you would match them up. So D and E are parallel, and A, B, and C are parallel to each other. If those little lines are not there, those little tick marks or arrows, then we don't know that they're parallel. The symbol for parallel, you want to write this down. Remember that parallel has two L's. The symbol looks like those two L's. They're two straight lines that don't intersect. So the symbol are two straight lines that do not intersect. So here's what we would do. We would name these lines parallel. Let's start with these two. All right. Can I name them with arrows? No. What would I name them with? Line, and then D. So we'd say line D is parallel to line E. So line D is parallel to line E. And then there's a lot more that are parallel, right? These three are parallel to each other. So you still only list two at a time. So you could say line A is parallel to line B. Line A is parallel to line B. What else is line A parallel with? Line C. Did I list all the parallel lines? Well, I said A and B and A and C. B and C. There won't be this many on a test. Normally there's one set or two sets, not four. It's kind of a lot. But that's parallel. What are some parallel lines in this room? The walls. All the vertical lines are parallel. All the horizontal lines are parallel. What else?
The ceiling.
Your ceiling. All those lines are parallel. Yep, and parallel. On your desk, the sides of your desk are parallel. These are parallel, and these are parallel. Little slots on the back. They're parallel. If you look at this box, that's where it is. I was looking for this for my 4th hour. Don't ask me why. We'll talk about it in a second. But here's a box, right? This is where my air purifier came in. And now it's sitting in the other box because I haven't done anything with it. And that's just life. Sorry that our air is not purified yet. I'm working on it. But anyways, so parallel lines are on the same plane, right? So the front of the box is a plane. Everyone looking at the front of the box? So the sides, like the left side and the right side, they are parallel to each other, all right? But a lot of students, because you're going to have a box question eventually, like where you'll see a box and it'll say, are these parallel? All right? These two lines, so like this side and this side, can everyone see them? These two sides, they are not technically parallel according to this definition. Because parallel have to be on the same plane. Are these two lines on the same plane? They are not. So we would not call them parallel. So make sure you know coplanar and they don't intersect. Okay, coplanar and then they don't intersect. The second one we learned is perpendicular. Perpendicular lines, in particular. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are coplanar lines that form 90 degrees at their intersection. They're coplanar lines that form 90 degrees at their intersection. They are coplanar lines that form 90 degrees at their intersection. Then you're going to use a straight edge. So a lot of you are wearing your badge. You could use that. I've seen a lot of that. Or you could use another sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. But use a straight edge. Use a straight edge and try to draw CD. And I'll show you how to make a right angle. So remember that lines don't ever end. A lot of students are like, "Do I draw in the middle?" Like it doesn't have a middle, so it doesn't really matter. But I'll show you how to draw a right angle by using a sheet of paper. So you could use your notes for this if you wanted. Do I have a marker? I do. So every corner of a piece of paper is a right angle. So what you can do is just line up the side of the paper with your line, right? This is a right angle. And then you can use the other side of the paper, which I'm drawing pitifully, to form your right angle. And you can just continue it. You're winging it. Fine. As long as you understand, 90 degrees. And then go ahead and make sure you have A and B on your next set of lines. Good. And then you could just continue the line through. So we have A, B, C, and D and all that. There's only one right angle drawn. Does that mean there's only one right angle? No. So number one, what relationship do the angles across from each other have? They're vertical. What do you know about the measures of vertical angles? They're congruent, right? This is also 90. You could also think of it this way. What relationship do these two angles have? They're adjacent and they're a linear pair, right? They're adjacent and supplementary. So if together they make 180 degrees and you already have 90 of it, what's 180 minus 90? 90. So technically all of these are right angles. They don't draw them because it looks silly if you had box, 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 box. And then also as a reminder, how many degrees is it all the way around one circle?
360.
360. And if you add 90, 90, 90, and 90, that makes 360. So just for you to know. All right, the symbol for perpendicular, there's not really a cool way to know. It's just an upside down T. Upside down T. Upside down T. And then we will name them perpendicular. So let's say I wanted to name AB. Could I say line A or line B? No, I'd use the arrows, right? AB. I got it down here. AB is perpendicular to CD. So AB is perpendicular to CD. How do we feel about it? Not just lines are perpendicular, but we can talk about some lines. My board is made up of these like metal pieces, right? So this one and this one, they come together. This is 90, all right? So there are lines that are perpendicular, but a lot of things in life are perpendicular. The floor is a plane. It's two-dimensional. The floor is perpendicular to the wall. Can anybody guess why it has to be perpendicular to the wall? Because it has to go straight up, right? If it were less, so a right angle looks like this. If it were less, the wall would lean towards me, which would be an issue. And if it was more, then it would lean towards Miss Dix's room, which would also be an issue. If you look at the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which you hopefully have seen in your life, it's in Europe. The Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's like a building. It leans. It's fine. It's because the bottom, the angle is ever so slightly off, and the taller that the building got, the more that it leaned, and it's awkward. And how it's still standing, I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but all buildings have to be right angles. Poles, right angles, or the stability is off. So there's that. We will decide. You don't have to draw them. We're just going to talk about it, just save time. We're going to decide if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So the first set of lines, what do we think? They are parallel. How do I know that they're parallel? Has the arrows, right? All right, what about the second set? They are neither. How did I know they weren't parallel? They intersect, they cross, right? And then how did I know they weren't perpendicular? They don't form a right angle. Okay, that's definitely an obtuse angle. All right, the third? Perpendicular. And then how did I know they formed a right angle? Because you got a box. All right, and then last. Neither. Good job. How did I know they were neither? There's not little triangles or little arrows. There's nothing. So eventually they'll intersect. Good. So we're going to go to your notes, and you'll want one highlighter. Your highlighter is just to take from the directions so you can answer correctly. Essentially what I did on these notes was take all of the different types of questions that you'll see and throw them on your notes. All we're going to be doing is reading a statement and looking at the picture. Okay? The first one, what it's looking for, you're going to highlight the second to last sentence. It says, use the diagram to determine which of the following statements you can assume to be true. So the second to last sentence in that first little paragraph. Use the diagram to determine which of the following statements you can assume to be true. So, if you want to be technically, the most correct, you can put can assume, cannot assume. Or we can shorten it, because that's a lot of writing, at least in my opinion. You can just put yes or no. Okay, so in this section we're going to put a yes if we can assume it and no if we cannot assume it. Okay, so looking at this picture, letter A says all the points shown are coplanar. What does coplanar mean? All on the same. All on the same plane. Are they all on the same plane? Yes. So you can put yes. You can technically put can assume. That is the official answer, but we're just going to put yes because life. But D, G, I are collinear. What does collinear mean? On the same line. What do we think? No. A, C, and G are collinear. Yep. I've been reading a lot of letters. I'm sorry. A, C, H. It's not going to be the last time either. I'm so sorry. It is a yes. I'll do better. E, G, line E, G, and line A, H are perpendicular. Yes, they intersect and they form 90. So that is a yes. BCA, angle BCA, which is this angle, and angle ACD, which is this angle, are a linear pair. They are adjacent, meaning they share this wall, and they are supplementary. They make 180 degrees together. All right, AF, where are we at? AF and BD are perpendicular. Why do we know that? Because there's no box. So no. That's why you cannot assume. That's why it's saying, can you assume it? No. I'm just going to keep going straight down. I'm not going to go in alphabetical order. So just straight down and then use the other column. So AF and BD are coplanar. Do we agree? Are they on the same plane? Yes. They are. So yes. AF and BD intersect. Yes. ACD and BCF are vertical angles. So vertical angles are formed by two straight lines, and they are located across from each other. This is a yes. Yes. All right, so going to letter G, we have EG and BD are parallel. Yes. Can we assume it? We cannot assume it, so it's no. Why can we not assume it? What would it have if they were? Little arrows or little triangles, one or the other. Little arrows or filled in triangles. But we do not have that, so it is not assumed. So that leads us to the next question, which you have to think a little outside the box for. These are lines that will keep going, right? If EG and BD are not parallel, it says they do not intersect. Will they eventually intersect? They will eventually. So can we assume this statement that they do not intersect? No. I know that's a little hard, a little backwards. They will eventually intersect. This is not a true statement. EG and BD are perpendicular? Definitely no. They have to intersect and form 90, so no. And then AC and FH are the same line. This is a yes. The arrows extend infinitely. It makes the same line. Question on any of these? Wonderful. This next section is a little different. It's the same idea, but it's just asking for us to answer differently. We're just figuring out which of them cannot be assumed from the diagram. So it's not asking you to say yes and no. Just tell me which ones cannot be assumed. Okay? So go ahead and highlight which ones cannot be assumed from the diagram. Sometimes in the directions it will say can, so make sure you're reading them. So we got A, B, and F are collinear. Do we agree? Yes. We do. So we're going to leave it alone. We only want to highlight or circle, whatever, the ones that cannot be assumed. If it bothers you that we're just moving on, you could put a little check mark so that you know you've read it. But we want to figure out which ones cannot be assumed. We've got E, B, and D are collinear. What do we think? No. It's a no. So we're going to highlight it. It cannot be assumed from the diagram. All right. This one's a little harder. We've got A, B. What do these dots mean? You see all these dots? It goes through and it's behind, right? So this line still continues. It's just under this plane. That's why I have this made. You'll see it. Ta-da. So this line goes down, but you can't see it behind this little piece of the second plane. Anyways, all right, so we got A, B. What did that symbol mean? Perpendicular is perpendicular to plane S. So, perpendicular means they intersect. Do they intersect? Do they touch? Yeah. They do. And they would form 90. So, we need to look at this 90-degree angle. The right angle needs to be touching both AB and plane S. Is it touching AB? Yeah. Yes, it's touching right here. And then is it touching plane S? Yeah. Yes, it's sitting on it right here. So this one can be assumed. So if you want to put a little check mark, you can. We want to figure out which ones cannot be assumed. We'll do the same thing, but with CD. CD is back here. Again, you got dot dots, so it goes behind this top part of the plane. And then we have t, which is all this. All right. Keep in mind the only right angle we have is over here. Is the right angle touching CD? It is not. It would have to be touching CD and plane T. It is not touching both. There is no right angle over here. There would have to be one. So this one we cannot assume. This would be one of the ones we highlight. We cannot assume it. There is no right angle over there. Last is AF intersects BC at point B. What do we think? It does. There's point B. That one's good. So we just highlighted the second and the fourth. Questions on this one? All right. This one we're deciding whether you can assume the statement. So this is like what we first did. This is not a multiple choice question. We just say yes or no. Can we assume it? You can write can assume, not assume if you want. We got plane W, planes, W and X intersect at KL. Do we agree? I agree. So you got these two planes. You got plane W and plane X. They intersect at that line in the middle. So I would say yes. So yes. Someone else read. These are for me.
Points K, L, M, and N are coplanar.
Do we agree?
No.
K, L, M, and N?
Oh, yes.
I agree.
Oh.
They're all on plane X. K and L are on both planes. So N is on plane X because this is a continuation of plane X. And M is definitely on plane X. So this one is a yes. Who wants to read the second one? Or 15? Go for it.
Points Q, J, and M are coplanar.
What do we think?
No.
This is a no. The next one. Go ahead, Isabel.
Line M and R. M and R intersect.
Yes.
Because there's no dot.
Not that.
So just intersect. So but pause. Remember, what do the dots mean?
Means that they can't see it, like,
It's behind, right? So, if you look at it that way, where the dots are not, like, they're behind. So do they actually intersect? They do not intersect. They do not. One is going like this, and then one is going like this. So they do not intersect. JK lies on plane X. Correct. It's on both. JK is in the middle. It's on both planes. What does the next one say? Angle PLK is a right angle. Before I even find PLK, what would I look for to know if we have a right angle? A box. Do we see one? No. So no. You don't even need to find PLK. It's just not a right angle. All right, who wants to read number 19?
angle NLK and angle JKM are vertical angles.
Good. N, KL, and JKM. Are they located across from each other? Are they formed by two straight lines? Yes. So that one is a yes. All right, and then last it says angle NKJ, and JKM are supplementary angles. Yes, they make a straight angle together, so they're supplementary. This one is a yes. Questions on any of these? Okay, this is the last one. Then we'll use our whiteboards for a minute. So we're going to select. So we're selecting. Go ahead and highlight select. What you cannot conclude. So highlight select, and then what you cannot conclude. So this one we're not writing yes or no. We're just highlighting the ones that are not true. So starting with A. It says A, B, and C are coplanar. They are on the same plane. B and C are on both planes, so we don't do anything for that. We want to highlight the ones we cannot conclude. If that bothers you, you can always put a small little check mark so that you know that was correct, which is why we didn't highlight it. Plane T, which is this plane, and plane S, which is this one, intersect at BC. That is true. So we leave that one alone also. AB, which is this one, intersects CD. This one's a no. So go ahead and highlight it. You can highlight just the letter, or you can highlight the whole thing, but we cannot conclude that AB intersects CD. H, F, and D are coplanar. That one's a no too. Let's go ahead and highlight that one. Plane T, which is the one that goes up and down, and plane S, which goes side to side. And then it says that symbol. What's that symbol mean again? Are perpendicular. So I only see one right angle, and it's right here. Okay? Does it touch both plane T and plane S? Yes, it touches plane T here, and it touches plane S here. So this one is a yes. We leave it alone because we can conclude that they are perpendicular. B bisects HC. What does bisect mean?
It cuts in half.
Cuts in half. So let's see. So does B cut HC in half? We don't know. Why don't we know what would be there? Little congruent dashes. So can we assume it? We cannot. We can't say, well, it looks like it's got to have that proof. ABH, which is this one, and angle HBF are a linear pair. This one's a yes. And then last is about AB and CD. To be perpendicular, they have to intersect and form 90. Do they intersect? They do not intersect. So can they be perpendicular? No. That's it. You're going to take out a whiteboard and a marker. You don't need a calculator. All we're doing is the same thing. So, which of the following statements cannot be assumed from the figure? So you're going to write down the letters for the ones that cannot be assumed from the picture. So on your whiteboard, you're writing down either A, B, C, or D, or a combination of them. So which ones cannot be assumed from the figure? Not quite. There's more than one answer. I don't think I can read that. Yeah, these are correct. You're correct. Correct. Okay, we can go through them, right? A, B, and C. Are they on the same line? No, so we cannot conclude. Okay, so that one's wrong. E is the midpoint. Number one, you can use your eyes, right? It's a little, it's in the middle. It definitely doesn't. But also, what would be there if it were the midpoint? Low congruent symbols, right? And then C says AC, which is this one, and BD are perpendicular. Do we agree? We do. They make a right angle right there. And then last says the length of AD, which is this one, is equal to the length of CD. How do I know that they are? The congruent marks. There's 2 and 2, which means those are correct. So you should have had A and B. This one you're writing yes or no. It's not a multiple choice. You're just determining whether you can assume the statement. So whether you can assume the statement. Close. Not quite. That's one of them wrong. You're good. And you're good too. Not quite. I think there's 2. Close. I think 2 of them are wrong. Yeah. 2 of them are wrong. One of them is wrong. I'll show you. Not quite. So you have first one is AB, which is this line, is perpendicular with plane M. The only right angle that I see in the picture is this one. Is it touching both AB and the plane? It is not. It's touching the plane, but it's not touching AB. So this one's a no. You cannot assume. The next one says F, G, and A are coplanar. Are F, G, and A on the same plane? Yes. They are. F, G, and A. They're all on plane P. So that was a yes. E, C, and G are collinear. E, C, and G, are they on the same line? Yes. So we have a yes and a yes. Plane M intersects plane P at BC. That is a yes. That is their intersection. FA lies on plane P. That one is a yes. The last, we should be able to read and figure out that it's not a thing, right? What part's not a thing? FG. So it says line FG, but there's no line. So, nope. We'll do one more and then we could be done for the day. So 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 4 questions. Correct. Not quite. Did you Not quite. Yes. Not quite. Not quite.
Oh, that might be wrong.
Not quite. Yes. Almost. Yes. Yes. All right. So the first one, A, B, C, E are coplanar. A, B, C, E, they for sure are. So that one's a yes. Number 10 says H, C, and G, E are perpendicular. That one is a yes. F, B, and G. F, B, and G are collinear. That one's a no. Coplanar, but not collinear. And then this next one says parallel lines. Do you see triangles anywhere on this picture? So there are no parallel lines. So, nope.